everybody and welcome back to my channel. It's so nice to have you guys here. So today we're going to be doing a colour mixing video. I know that this is something that puts a lot of people off and it just instantly makes their brain go, oh, I don't understand what's going on, and it kind of makes people freak out quite a lot. So I thought I'd just do a video just to clear up some misconceptions and try to put it across as simply as I possibly can. So today we're going to be making a colour wheel. I know that a lot of you guys probably did this at school, but I don't want that to put you off because it's so important and it really is crucial to understanding colour and trying to make your painting the best it can be. Obviously, I'm not a teacher, I haven't been to university to study any of this. I've just done research myself, and I'm sorry if things aren't properly correct, but this is how I do it and hopefully it will help some of you guys as well. So there are two colour wheels that you can make. The first one is the CMYK colour wheel and the next one is the red, blue and yellow colour wheel. So I've already made this one in a past video, so I'll link that up now in case you wanted to go with this colour wheel, or today we're going to be making this one. Obviously they look pretty much the same, so it doesn't really matter. It more sort of depends on your preferences, which colours you like to use the most. I'd say in the CMYK one, the magenta is really strong, and also the cyan is a very strong blue colour, whereas in the red, blue, yellow colour, the colours are more sort of traditional. It really depends which one you prefer. There's a big debate about which one artists should use. At the end of the day, art is about not having rules, right? So as I said, today we're going to be making the red, blue, yellow colour wheel. Literally all you need is a red. I'm just using a really cheap acrylic paint, and then I'm using an ultramarine blue and a cadmium yellow. So it really doesn't matter, just use whatever's lying around, just use whatever you've got. Also in terms of brush, I'm just going to be using sort of a small / medium sized brush. Again, it can be whatever's lying around, and we will be using also a palette knife to mix some colours, which is great if you've got one. If you've not, don't worry, you can just use your brush. Let's crack on with it. So I'm starting off just with a circle on my sketchbook. You can use a bowl to draw around or a compass, whatever. And I'm just starting off by filling in the red and the yellow and the blue sections. I find exercises like this just really therapeutic, you know, when you're just sort of like colouring in almost. Right, so that's the easy bit over, I'm afraid. So next we're going to start making the colours in between. So I'm going to take a bit of red and I'm going to try and mimic this on my palette to sort of make it easier. And taking a bit of blue, I'm going to try and make a mid purple. So using equal amounts of red and blue, I've made a purple. I'm just going to pop that in between the two colours on the colour wheel right now. So when that's done, now we're going to mix a little bit more red into it to make it in between a red and purple. And as you keep doing this, you can see that the colours really start to blend together. So now I'm going to do the same with the blue, so I'm going to add a bit more blue into the same mixture and make it more of a bluey purple. So that's a third of our colour wheel already completed. So next we're going to do the same with the yellow and the blue. So I'm going to make a mid green using pretty much equal amounts of the blue and the yellow. And once you feel like you've got the right colour, remember there is no right or wrong answer, so just go with whatever you feel. I'm just going to paste that in there. So now I'm going to make more of a yellowy green, so I'm going to add a bit more yellow to that same mixture to sort of get an in-between shade of the green and the yellow. And again, I just love blending it all in, it's just so therapeutic. And now add in a bit more blue so it's more of a turquoisey colour. Okay, so now for the last third, I'm going to get my red and my yellow to make a really nice mid-orange. And really I just find it so amazing that you can make all these beautiful bright colours with just 3 paint colours. I mean, it's incredible when you go around an art shop and there's all these colours hanging up and you just think, oh, I wish I could buy them all, but you actually really don't need to. And these colour wheels in the art shops, they're about £7, so we've just made one there pretty much for almost free. And right now I'm just writing down the warm and the cool tones just as a good reminder. So warm tones are like your oranges and reds that depict like the sun, and your cool ones are the ones that remind you of wintertime. So next I want to do a little exercise with the contrast and the warm and cool tones. So I'm just going to draw some little boxes here. You can do the same if you want to. And I want to show you how you can use complementary colours to bring down the contrast and saturation of a colour. So my favourites are blue and orange together. I just think they make some beautiful greys. So on one end of the scale I'm going to put blue straight from the tube. And the other side I'm going to make an orange that we can put in the other side of the scale. And the idea is that we start gradually adding these two colours together and see what happens. So I'm going to put my orange over here so we don't contaminate the main palette. And I'm just going to add a little dash of blue. Already you can see that it's just taken down that brightness. It's still warm and it's still orange, but it looks almost like a dirty orange or just a bit more of a dull orange. So now I'm just going to add a bit more blue and I'm just going to keep repeating the same process till we eventually get to blue at the other end of the scale. So this is one way that you can make a brown. And the closer to orange the brown is, the warmer it is, and then the closer to blue the brown is, then the cooler it is. Great, so now what I want to show you is what happens when you add a bit of white to it. So obviously on camera the colours aren't going to be as vivid as in real life, so I wanted to add a little bit of white just to show you the real difference between all of these colours. And also the fact that you can make your own grey, and these greys are so much nicer than when you buy just a tube of grey, because there's so many different pigments in there that are reflecting the light, and you can obviously make as many different colour greys as you like. So again we can add on the warm and the cool, because you can actually buy warm and cool greys in the shop. So an example of when I would use the colours in the middle would be maybe for something that is far away into the distance and not as saturated in colour, or maybe something that is in shadow, and I'll talk more about when we'll use it when we do part 2 of this video. So another complementary colour I really love is purple and green together. So I'm going to make a purple using the red and the blue, and I'm going to put that at one end of the scale, and we're going to do the same thing with green and purple as what we did with blue and orange. So now that either end's done, I'm going to take some of the green mixture and just pop it to one side, and I'm just going to gradually add more and more purple and fill in the scale just like we did before. And just like we did before, I'm going to add a little bit of white with each colour so you can really see the saturation of each colour on the scale. And in general, I would say that purple and green are both pretty cool colours, but the purple is the warmer of the two because it's got red in it. So now I'm going to clean all my palette up, ready for the third and final exercise. So these are some swatches that I made using Photoshop, so you can use your own swatches or you can download this in the description box. And this is basically going to be a test session, and we're going to try and make the colours, or as close as to the colours as we can, using blue, yellow and red. And this is going to help us practice to matching a colour, and we're going to be using the colour wheel to help us. And to prevent wastage, this is where the palette knife comes in handy. So the first colour that I need to match is this sort of light orange. So looking at my colour wheel, I can see that it's around this area, and I need to obviously add red and yellow to get this colour. So although it is an orange, you can already see that it's far too bright and there's far too much saturation. So we need to dull it down a little bit. So I'm going to add a little bit of blue, which is a complementary colour, the opposite colour. And you can see the saturation just starting to be pulled from that orange. So now we can tell it's too dark and dull. So I'm going to take a little bit and just pop it in a new area and add a little bit of white. So I'm just taking it to the swatch to have a look, and I feel like the swatch is a little bit more pink, so I'm going to add just a little tiny dash of red into that and see what we come out with. And this is why the swatch test is such a good idea, because it really gets you used to making a mixture, holding it up to see if it matches, and then amending it or altering it to make sure it does match. So I'm just adding a little bit of white into that because I feel like it was still a little bit too dark. And I feel like that's almost perfect now, so I'm just going to add a big splodge onto that little swatch. Now I've skipped a little bit here, but I just wanted to show you at this point that you can actually reuse old mixtures if they're not already dried. So for this patch, it's so similar to the first one that I just wanted to add a little bit more red just to make it more pink. And that just really shows how you can amend and make the most of all your paint on your palette so that you're not having any wastage. Also, I just want to mention that you're not going to be able to get all of these colours exact because it really depends on which colour wheel you're using, whether you're using the CMYK colour wheel or the one that we've made today. So like this green one that is next to the orange one at the top, I'm going to find it pretty much impossible to get that colour using the colours I've already got. So with that one, I would look at using definitely a more greeny blue rather than an ultramarine. If there's any that you are really struggling to get, it might just be that you've got the wrong kind of blue or the wrong kind of red or the wrong kind of yellow. So just try your best to match it and then move on to the next one. So unfortunately I couldn't show you me mixing them all because the video would have been about an hour long. But I wanted to show you an example of the complementary colour again, because this green that I'm onto, the green is obviously more of a grey green and it's quite dull. So to do that I just added a little bit of the colour above, which was more of a magenta-y purple, and you can see that it took the contrast and the saturation down again. Now the next one is a light blue, so you think that would just be blue and white and super simple, but you can see as I add it on my palette that actually the swatch is almost got a pinky hue to it. So I'm going to actually add in a bit of that purpley magenta colour again, and hopefully that will just add a bit of warmth to it and make it more of a lilac-y blue. If you would like to watch this in real time, you can slow down the YouTube video in the settings tab. And also I just want to mention that this did take me like maybe 45 minutes to an hour just to do the swatches. So it really does take time and patience, and it's really not something that you just want to rush through. So the blue in the corner I've left because again I've just got a completely wrong kind of blue to do that. But I'd really love to see your attempts at this, so make sure you hashtag me in on Instagram or Twitter so I can have a look. And that completes our colour mixing video. Thanks so much for joining me in that video, guys. I really hope that you enjoyed it. So this is only part one. There's actually going to be a part two, and in that video we are going to be doing a painting together, like a whole painting, sort of like a tutorial, but instead of focusing on brush strokes and all that sort of thing, we're going to be focusing on the colour and how to get realistic colours and make things look more realistic. So make sure you guys join me for part 2 soon, and I'll see you then. Bye!